don't love me, but she loves my automobile. She don't love me, but she loves my automobile. She'd do anything just to slide behind the wheel. She says, what's it gonna take for you to lay your top on down? She says, what's it gonna take for you to lay your top on down?
Okay.
Believe me, that won't be the last button I forget to hit.
Do we know how long we've been off?
No, we've been on. It's just that we've not been taping it.
Oh, okay.
So they saw that. That really is the only time they'll see that.
Welcome to Friday Rerun. For those of you not watching at about 10:05, live from Jenkins Park, and I see Dale sitting out there.
Yeah, Dale Walker and the gang over there at Charter. We want to say Mark and Mickey and Linda and there's a whole bunch of them who really helped us get this done and done right, Dave.
Well, Dale wanted to know where Barbara was because he wanted to hug her. Now, you know how that would go.
Oh, he said he's going to give her a kiss, too.
Ooh, wish she could have been here. But Barb is off on an adventure.
She's going to Idaho, right?
Yeah, she's in Idaho, but she'll be back next week, I think.
You hope?
Maybe.
Maybe.
But anyway.
Well, actually, she's no longer going to bet. We've got somebody else to do the weather today, so when we get to that part,
oh, really?
Let me handle the weather. No, I don't need that's probably false. Did Barb write it down?
No, I came up with that.
That's okay. I've got us a new plan today.
Uh-oh.
No, it's going to be wonderful. We don't even.
You got me worried about it.
We don't even need Barb now no more for the weather. You know, she can come and she maybe can run the camera or maybe run some wires.
Do you have a weather girl with a blue screen?
Well, no, it's going to be a weather guy. But you'll see when it happens. It's lovely.
I'm getting worried.
No, it's nothing to worry about.
Well, it's Friday, August 22nd, unless you're watching this at some other time. And on this day in history, in 1851, a silver trophy called the 100 Guinea Cup. 100 Guinea Cup.
Okay.
Was won by the U.S. sailing yacht America in a race against the British yacht Aurora around the Isle of Wight. The U.S. brought the trophy home, where it was renamed the America's Cup. I don't think we've won it since.
Probably not.
The Levi Strauss Company quit putting pocket and seam rivets in its famous 501 blue jeans 39 years ago today.
They quit?
They quit. Of course, these aren't Levi's. No.
I thought
I don't have rivets in these either.
I thought that
I remember rivets from grade school.
That was a staple still in today.
39 years ago.
Anyway.
But not on the 501. Now, there may be other numbered jeans that have them.
It's...
This was the day in 1984 that the last Volkswagen Rabbit rolled off the assembly line. Not the Beetle, but the Rabbit.
Right.
On August 22nd, 1906, the Victor Talking Machine Company marketed the first Victrola with a speaker in the cabinet. It was priced at $200.
And that would be like, what, $1,000 or $2,000
Gazillion or something today, yeah. 18 years ago today, Karen McKee Corporation agreed to pay the estate of Karen Silkwood. You remember that? Cher starred in a movie about $1.8 million in a lawsuit filed over her nuclear contamination and eventual death.
You can't take it with you.
The money didn't do her a lot of good, but they should have paid it out, and they did.
I've never seen a hearse with a U-Haul behind it.
Well,
You probably have.
I've come close to seeing that.
Okay.
Yeah, U.S. Vice President, I've seen U-Hauls actually before the death.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, King Tut tried to take it with him, didn't he?
Yeah, and he did, but people are taking it back. U.S. Vice President George Bush was on the presidential campaign trail on this date in 1988 when he made a statement he would come to regret. Read my lips, no new taxes.
And if Ted Sanders was here, he could read your lips.
Kind of reminds you of, I did not have, well, you know.
Yes, we remember.
Bush also set the tone for his campaign with his slogan, 1,000 points of light. On August 22nd, 1771, the first midget ever seen in the U.S. was exhibited in Boston. It cost $1 shilling to see him.
Exhibited a midget, huh? Kind of like see the fat
shilling.
lady.
What's a shilling?
That's a form of payment.
I know that.
Okay.
How much would a shilling be worth?
Well, I don't know. How much was script worth? I don't know.
How much is strip worth? Script.
Yeah, you know what script is.
Yeah, I knew what the other was too, but I
Yeah,
thought you were talking about that.
that's worth more than you can afford, believe me.
The science fiction TV show It's About Time premiered on this day in 1966, but you don't have any idea about
Nope.
that. It starred Imogene Coca.
1966.
And it didn't last very long. And the theme song was something. It's about time. It's about space. It's about the.
Well, there's somebody watching it that might remember that. My uncle Rodney Mullins is in from Lexington for the Mullins reunion, and he's a little bit older than me, and he's a science fiction fanatic, so he was probably singing along with.
Well, it was a comedy science fiction.
Oh,
and,
comedy.
Yeah, and Imogene Coca was a big Broadway star, and they got her to be in this. Didn't last very long, but I was a fan of that show. And I even remember how the theme song went, which shows you how crazy I am.
I'm sure you just totally trashed it, didn't you?
No.
Okay.
It was almost right in there. Nolan Ryan of the Texas Rangers became the first major league pitcher to strike out 5,000 batters as he fanned Ricky Henderson of the Oakland A's 14 years ago today. Now, how long would it take to strike out 5,000 batters? I mean, he must have pitched, really fast for a long, long time.
He had the heater.
5,000 batters. Birthdays today. Author Ray Bradbury is 83. Cindy Williams, she was Shirley of Laverne and Shirley.
Yeah, I like that show.
Celebrating her 56. You know what her last name was?
On the show or
Yeah.
her real name?
No, her last name.
Shirley Feeney. I'm guessing.
Oh, I guess that's right. I thought it was Shirley Knott, but you're right.
For once, huh?
Shirley Knott.
Surely not.
Retired
Oh,
General
that's corny, Hartley.
Norman
Surely
Schwarzkopf
not.
hit 69 today. And Kathy brought up something on the show this morning.
Your current and fourth wife, yes, Kathy,
Yeah.
we love her.
Yeah, I also did a Red Skelton's Way to keep your marriage together this morning. I won't do it here because she won't. But she said if Schwarzkopf and Schwarzenegger ran on a ticket together, you'd have a really long bumper sticker.
I like it. That's pretty good.
John Lee Hooker, born this day in 1917, and Kathy Lennon of the Lennon Sisters is 61. And now the weather.
Yes, we have a special treat for the folks.
I'm
in the weather.
interested in seeing what's going on here.
Well, what we have done is we have.
I'm going to stop getting up at 4:28 and running.
You don't have to no more. I'm telling you, we've got better weather than you could possibly get at 428. We have got what's called the Jackson Weather Service.
The Jackson Weather Service.
At Lexington. Haze was reported at Louisville and Bowling.
Yeah, but it's going to take forever to get to the forecast.
Across northern Kentucky and southern Ohio, temperatures between 75 and 78
That's not saying a lot,
At Covington,
She's not going to see this.
At Dayton, haze was reported. At Wilmington,
She watches the soap operas.
haze was reported with a temperature of 78 at Huntington and 79 in Charleston.
Who does?
Knoxville.
Does she? You buy a lot of stuff on
Temperature of 76.
It's like Red Skelton said, I have to hold her hand if I know she shops.
The current time is 10:12 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time.
All right.
Give us the latest weather synopsis. Look for showers and thunderstorms to overspread the cold fields today as a cold front drops down through the Ohio Valley. The front is expected to clear the Commonwealth Saturday morning, allowing for a generally dry weekend. In fact, high pressure will be the rule well into the upcoming work week, keeping eastern Kentucky rain-free. The trend of afternoon temperatures in the 80s will continue for the next several days as well. Thank you for listening to NOAA Weather Radio.
You're welcome.
Now, wasn't that nice?
The forecast for the county.
There you go. That's what you wanted.
Letcher.
No, you already did.
Today, partly cloudy with a 50% chance of showers and thunderstorms.
That's what this is.
Highs 81 to 86.
Yeah,
Light
it does
southwest
not.
winds. Tonight, partly cloudy with a 40% chance of showers and thunderstorms. Low 64 to 69.
See, we've got a
Flat and
replacement.
variable winds.
She won't read
Saturday,
that.
a
She reads
20%
it
chance of showers and thunderstorms in
No,
the
she
morning.
makes it up. This is exactly what this says.
Okay,
My
anyway,
forecast exactly like that.
we've got some guests to get to here, Hartley.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's do that. We'll be right back after this short break on Heritage TV.
Hey, I see it's over there. And we have morphed back to Friday Live, unless you're watching on tape. And we're at the Jenkins stage, and lots of activities going on at John Jenkins Days. And we have a guy with a badge in the middle here.
Most people probably recognize him from the Sunday Lexington Herald. He had a big half-page picture of him in
Oh yeah,
there.
I understand you got some money for some Oxycontin.
This is Sheriff Danny Webb, the one and only.
Glad to be here, Vic.
Thank you for coming,
Good to
Danny.
be here again.
Tell the folks a little bit about why that you were in the Lexington Herald this past Sunday.
They were doing a story on the OxyContin problem that we have in eastern Kentucky, and they were covering different ways that they were covering, like what the doctors go through, what law enforcement goes through, and people that are addicted to the drug. And they've been preparing the story for quite a while, and they had found out about me receiving a grant from Purdue Pharma.
And Purdue makes the drug.
They're the one that makes OxyContin. And they have joined with law enforcement to fight the misuse of the OxyContin drug, because it's really a good drug for what it should be used for.
Exactly,
but
it is. Yeah.
the misuse of it is killing people, and the people that are addicted to it, it's a very tough drug to get freed from. I talked to the people that are on it, and that they say that they used a lot of drugs in their life, but OxyContin has been the worst one to try to rehabilitate.
The physical
and get back
addiction is just overwhelming.
The addiction is overwhelming, and so Purdue Pharma is joined with law enforcement, or have joined with law enforcement to try to fight this problem. And I was one of the first law enforcement agencies in Eastern Kentucky to apply for the grant and receive it. And
Now, back up. Now, you applied for a grant. Now, in other words, were they out there screaming, "Look, if you need money, just ask and we'll give"?
no.
How did you do that?
Have you ever heard of anybody doing that?
No.
They wouldn't do that. What happened, I called one day. I was in a situation where when I came into office, I didn't have money to just run the daily things of the sheriff's office.
Yeah, you were buying your own drugs.
And I was buying my own drugs, out of my pocket. and I saw that wasn't going to work, because the OxyContin pills were costing, like one 80 milligram pill was costing $120 on the street.
Wow.
That's the price of it.
One pill?
So, one pill.
And how are they getting these pills?
Well, that's what we don't know yet. They're bringing them in. They're not that easy, as the newspaper article pointed out. They're not that easy to get here in Letcher County.
Right.
As far as going to a doctor and saying, well, I want some OxyContin, that don't happen. But somewhere, in other states, that might be the case. So if you can get, come up with, 500 OxyContin, that 80s, that a prescription of them would cost somewhere around $300, and they bring them into here and sell them for $100 to $120 a piece.
Big
then you're
profit.
talking about a big profit margin there. And so I was running into that, trying to start a drug operation where we could actually try to do something about the numerous drug dealers that we got in the county, and the public are complaining to the sheriff's office, we want something done with this person next door selling drugs, and there are 40 cars coming up here a day,
That's
to buy
kind of a
drugs.
telltale sign.
Yeah,
isn't it?
and so they're looking to the sheriff's office, state police, and local city police to do something about their problem. So I called, I was sitting there one day, and I said, maybe there is some kind of money like that. And so I called Purdue Pharma, and I went through, how you call a big corporation sometimes, and you have to go through 3 or 4, 5 people. And I finally talked to this lawyer that was in their legal department, and I told her what my problem was here in Letcher County, that we didn't have the funds to fight the problem. And I just wanted to know if there was money, if there's anything that they could do to help me. And she put me in touch with the vice president of their security for Purdue Pharma, and he was a retired DEA agent. So after I talked to him, he said, and I told him what I was doing and spending money out of my pocket, buying drugs, like he said. And he thought that was, he said, I'm going to try to help you. So he sent me some paperwork and told me just to fill it out and send it back to him.
Yeah.
And when he got it back, it was probably about a month later, they called me and said that they was going to approve giving me $10,000 to start.
Wow, you could buy a lot of drugs with that.
Congratulations.
I have been buying a lot of drugs. But one of the other things that we're doing with the money, I've bought equipment, and that's what the Lexington Herald was covering. We bought equipment, surveillance equipment, small recorders that cost $250 to $350 just for a
Yeah,
mini recorder.
these things cost
And
more than people
they're,
think they
They're
do.
very
Yeah.
expensive, and I couldn't go out and purchase them, so we did that. We bought those. We were in the process of looking at some surveillance cameras and things like that. But also we got things to give to kids, say no to drugs. There's no restrictions on it. I actually could use the money to pay car payments, but I got my car
Well, that's
payments
nice.
paid for a few months. But they don't put any restriction on it. Like a lot of federal grants that you get, like I've got a grant in right now for school resource officers. I have to spend all that money just for the salary
You
of
have
the
to account
officer.
for every bit of it in
And
that
everything
area.
has to be, well, they actually audit it themselves
Oh, okay.
because you pay the deputy's salary
Mm-hmm.
and then they reimburse you. So you just, what you turn in is what they pay you back. So I've got a grant here from Purdue Pharma that there was no restrictions on it. So I'm using about 70% of it to purchase the illegal
Equipment?
drugs.
Oh, the
About
drugs.
30% to purchase things that are used in the schools when we go into the schools. And we've been doing programs around the community. The other day we did one to all the Head Start employees, the teachers and the helpers. We did a program for them down at Hazard at the community college that had about 150 people in it. And we had put this program together to show the people what kind of problem law enforcement is facing. Not only law enforcement, but the general public. We talked to them about truck drivers using drugs. The people that own the trucks are telling us that it's hard to find a truck driver that's not on drugs. And
Well, that doesn't make you feel safe
no,
on the
and
Big, huge
here's the-
18-wheeler like that.
well,
somebody
the first thing they do, they got to take drug tests and stuff, and we've had incidents just recently where they had to fire several where they failed their drug test. So it's a problem in any way. If you work at the sawmill, you got to take a drug test.
Yeah.
Any job now is that's part of the requirement, and I feel that we've got such a problem here. In fiscal court, we talk about bringing factories in and trying to put people to work, and I'm wondering if we have a workforce.
Well, that's a
do
good point.
we have a workforce left?
That's drug-free.
Years ago, we had my father and all the coal miners you see here, some of them are retired now. We had the best reputation as a workforce in eastern Kentucky.
Took pride in what you did.
And they go out and I talked to people that were supervisors that are retired now, and they said they had a crew that turned out more coal, that it was just, you didn't even have to say anything to them. They came in and worked. And I hope that we've not got to the point that we've got so many people on drugs that live only for that next pill, that it's destroying, it's making our community die. And I fight a battle every day with it. I got families coming into my office that's got a child on drugs and they don't know what to do. They don't know where to go with it. And the problem with this area is we don't have any rehabilitation centers. We have a few, but we just don't have any place for the people to go, or those people to go. And it's kind of sad that if you have somebody that really wants to get off it, what do we do for them? Well, I feel like that's part of my job too. And we're trying to join together with other organizations and KRCC, and I'm on several committees that we look at things like that. And law enforcement was part of, and rehabilitation is part of a new program that it's called Unite. And I don't know if you've heard of this.
No, I haven't. You heard of it, Dave?
Hal Rogers, a congressman, has came up with some money to put into fight the street-level drug problem. And one thing that I think that I'm going to be on the ground floor on is they're going to pay one of my deputies' salary to work on nothing but drugs, which that allows me to free another one up to take care of accidents and cases and things like that. So that's going to be part of the program. But one part of the program is divided in three different areas. But one of the parts of the program is that they're going to try to get some rehabilitation centers.
that'd be nice.
We'll work together with other
That's
people
really a
and
good thing. That's needed.
give people a chance to go and get off drugs, and that it doesn't do any good if we come out here and we catch somebody, snorting pills or whatever, and we take them down and lock them up. That doesn't do any good. Eventually they're going to get out and they're going to go right back to what they were doing.
Somebody who wants to get off is a totally different kind of person.
Yeah, you run into that. And just yesterday I had a young man that was really an OxyContin user that has been in a rehabilitation center, and he came in and he said it was the first time. He came in to talk to me in the office, and he said it was the first time since he was 13 years old that he was free of drugs. And he was free of taking any kind of drugs.
How old is he today?
But he says he works every day to keep.
How old is he today?
Oh, he's in his 30s.
So it's been
since
17 plus years that he's.
But he just sitting and talking to him, he had a great testimonial about what he could tell young people, because he got into OxyContin, and he was one of them that was telling me how bad that it was. He said it was the worst that he'd ever got around. And we talk to young people when I go to do the programs at the schools and stuff. And I'm 55 years old here next month, and I'm quite separate from high schoolers now. I know they're talking about you being old a while ago, but
I'm close to you. I'm close to you.
It's hard.
He's a young fellow.
It's hard for them to relate to. Here's this old sheriff, and he's telling us that it's bad and everything, and
you grew up during the 60s and 70s. You know what was going on.
I was there in the 50s. I remember the 57 Chevy. But it's hard to relate to them. But if you have someone like that, we're planning on in the future, you got to wait until you got one that you know for sure that they have fought through it. Mm-hmm. And I look forward to taking a young man like that and putting him with us and go and let him tell the kid. Yeah. And I think that's where because if you can get up there and say, this is what I went through, and this is the kind of life that I was living, because I got started smoking marijuana, and then I took a few pills, and
Well, Danny, some of your best ministers in the world at one time were some of the meanest people in the world too.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They've been through it, and they've been down that road.
I remember some of the one in particular, not to mention his name. He was telling me about when he got out of the Army, and he's one of the most famous preachers in this county, and he'd tell me stories about when he first came out of the Army, how wild he was.
Couldn't believe it.
But he still told the stories though. But
he was nicknamed Monsters.
No. Yeah. But there is one thing people have asked me, and this has been published, so you can give this information out. I believe they wanted to know how much money has Danny Webb actually spent of his own money on drugs. And I didn't think to ask him.
I think what happened, and I caught it early.
You haven't gotten any flack from the show.
The Lexington Herald said $800.
It was quoted in the Lexington Herald. He spent $800 on.
And I don't know where they got that number. I don't remember anybody ever asking me that.
I wanted to check and see with you if that was correct.
Was it good stuff?
He must have got that from somebody. Well, I don't know. We've not got the test back. One thing you told me I could talk about.
Sure,
I want to kind of tell the people what's going on about our drug operation.
Okay.
We have numerous cases right now that's already made, and we're ready to arrest people for selling drugs in this county. If we've not got two, the ones that's selling it, it's probably because we're clogged up in the court system right now, or with our drug tests. Mm-hmm. If you've read lately in the Lexington Herald, the lab is backed up
big time
months, and we have to get that drug report back saying that even though we know it's an OxyContin, the pharmacists will tell us it's an OxyContin, we still have to have a lab report breaking it down chemically and proving it.
Beyond a shadow of a doubt, as they say.
And the jail, I talked to Gary Cornett the other day, and the jail's full, and there's no room. If you go out and arrest 50 drug dealers at one time, and then it crumbs the system. It fills the system up.
Yeah.
Too much.
You got.
So what we've been doing is we go out if one is a real problem. we take them sort of priority, and we're going ahead and rating, and we pick one up at a time, or we'll pick two up at a time, and try to filter them into the system. So,
But it's going to happen.
if we've not got that drug dealer that lives next to you, believe me, he's worried about us, or she is worried about us.
Well,
So I just want the people to know that we are working behind the scene, that we're still working on it, and we feel like, at first I got real frustrated that, everybody told me, said nobody can do anything about a drug problem, and when I first started, I got real frustrated about it because I started thinking the same thing, but I really think with all these other departments helping and trying to get a rehabilitation, I think we could do something about the drug problem in Letcher County. And I also think that if you do away with the customers, then you do away with the supplier. And I think just going out and arresting drug dealers is not the answer, because then two more will take his place. So what we need to do is cut down on the people that are buying it. So we want to get into the schools, and we want to work with the children and try to keep them from becoming a future customer. And maybe we can stamp it out, over the years.
Well, go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to say my hat's off to Purdue for not putting any strings on the money.
Yeah.
Because somebody sitting in, I don't know where they are, Philadelphia or whatever, somebody sitting behind a desk in Philadelphia does not know how to spend the money effectively in Letcher County.
Right.
And you do.
Yeah, and what we're doing is I've stayed in touch with the Purdue Pharma people, and matter of fact, they're interviewed every time that I've showed up in the paper, stories, everything. They're usually interviewed because I tell them who to contact, so they know what I'm doing.
Right.
And I'm going to provide them with a list of number of cases, number of arrests that we made, and with the use of their money. This is what your money went to, and we're going to provide them an update, and it's coming up on 6 months, that we're going to give them a 6 month update.
How valuable it was.
And there's always a possibility that they'll fund me again. So you don't want to never burn your bridges just because you got $10,000.
That's right.
Two things. Number one, for all those folks out in the public who, when you took office, said that you couldn't do nothing, or said, why aren't you doing something? These things take time, and you're now starting to see a little bit of the fruits from the seeds that you've sown since you've been sharing.
And I feel a lot better now than I did the first 2 or 3 weeks.
Well, you're hitting your head against a brick wall at first. No money. You were just so handcuffed.
And I didn't really realize what I was really getting into, and how administratively you've got to do all these other things. We haul all the juveniles. It's our job, the sheriff's office job. Any juvenile that's in trouble, we haul them to the detention center. Anybody that's got mental problems, for KRCT, if it's been voluntary, we haul all of them. And we take care of the court. We got the bailiffs in the court. We haul everybody that goes to the penitentiary to and from. We do all that. We've got our drug operation going. Plus, people call us to handle their burglaries and thefts and accidents and so forth and so on. So with the personnel, I tell people it's like being a juggler and having 12 basketballs. And I've got them all in there right now.
Well, there's some things I want to get to here real quick before we go. The second thing I want to mention to folks is, we are here at Jenkins Days. We're right here in the park, and I'm looking at a big tent over here. It's got Coca-Cola on it, and I know that you're doing some important work. Now, this is right by the stage. Let the folks know when they come down to Jenkins Days what they can use as their advantage.
I think that they're going to do a little story tonight. They're going to come over and film some of it.
Okay, great.
What we're doing is we're doing the child ID kit, and just lately with the Amber Alerts that's happening nationwide, where children are just taken from malls and areas like this. We have came up with a program that a police officer in New York came up with it, and it's a computer program that scans the child's fingerprints onto a program.
Nationwide database.
And then we take a digital picture of the child, and it puts that on the card. And in the meantime, we type in the information, the height and weight, and description of the child while the computer is fingerprinted. And then it prints it out, and you have the child's fingerprints, you got a picture of the child, and you got their personal information on it. and we're providing that as a service to the public.
Doesn't cost anything,
Doesn't
right?
cost anything, and we had about 50 kids there last night. that
Well, one of my buddies,
participated.
Quinn Bolin, he had his young boy over here, Ethan. He come back over, had a big old picture of his fingerprints, and he was like, "Yeah, look at here what I've got."
It's a real cute program, and after you fingerprint them, it'll say, "Good job, Ethan," or
Talks
and
to
it's
him.
got of course McGruff is on there telling them which finger to put in the
crime
scanner and all
dog,
that.
yeah.
I'd be
good
interested
program.
if he'd get fingerprinted, see
Yeah.
what comes back.
He's already got my fingerprint.
we may not need to run that through the computer.
We may not need to.
But we're using the computers that we've obtained from a federal grant that's going in our police cars. And
All right.
we have, at this time, we got 5 police cars that have docking stations in them for these computers. And it's going to allow us, as soon as they turn the radio frequency on here in Letcher County, which should be pretty soon because they're taking bids on the tower and stuff now to put it on. But we will be able to, from the car, we'll be able to run a criminal history, license plates, OL, operator's license check. So the Virginia car you're driving here, I can be behind it. I can type in the license number, and in just a few seconds, I know who you are, who blows the car, and so forth.
Uh-oh.
And the only thing it
I've
don't
got to
tell
go,
us,
Rick.
Okay, Dave.
it doesn't tell us if you've got OxyContin in the car.
And I really appreciate you coming on the show today. You have just been a wealth of information today. You really have.
I'm glad to be here, and I'm sorry I missed the last time. I got in, you had called me, we set it up.
Right.
I found out we don't need to set things up too far ahead.
Okay.
We have court on Friday, and I got kind of caught up in that. Had to do some preliminary hearings.
Well, you sent word to us, and we let the people know that you'd be back on at another time, and you said Jenkins Days, I'm going to be there anyway, so it'd work out great.
And
So,
you're a great guest, great sense of humor. I appreciate it. I hope you didn't catch too much flack on the last show.
No, I had it mentioned. Everybody that watched it, they got a kick out of it.
Good. And I want to share one story with you real quick before I let you go. We had a Jenkins police officer on a couple weeks ago, Sergeant Engel, and I asked him a question. If I was going 10 miles an hour with the speed limit and it was raining real hard, would he pull me over and give me a ticket? Well, he tried to give the politically correct answer. How hard is it raining? I said, it's a torrential downfall of the trees. Well, I say, Bill Tackett out here a little bit after that. He says, son, you pinned my officer down. I said, well, what'd I do? When it rains next time, when I see you out, Rick Hall, I'm going to pull you over. I'm going to tell every officer I know when it's raining, just for the fun of it, pull you. We're going to show you, so we'll pull you over when it's raining. So if Bill asks you to pull me over when it's raining, just ignore it. Okay?
I don't know what he's talking about.
No, pull him over.
Yeah, he's already noticed you got a Virginia car.
Yeah,
So.
we're too busy watching for Virginia cars.
Danny, thanks again. But is there anything you'd like to say
Good
before we
be
go?
here. I'd just like to invite everybody over, and we're going to try to have 2 computers tonight, so we feel like
Speed
we're
it up a little bit.
and kind of speed it up a little bit.
That's good
Last
program.
night it was pretty much the way they came in. We handled it pretty good. So
Great.
But we'll probably be over there, and if you
You'll
have
be
any
over tomorrow
questions,
also,
that's
won't
good.
you?
Oh yeah, we'll be here for. We got to come and help. Little lady over there, Ernestine. We're going to come and help her with her concert tomorrow night. We're going to try to get as many officers over here as we can.
All right, great. Yeah, it'll be a big crowd tomorrow night. We'll need all the help we can get.
it will
I
be.
hope it'll cool off a little bit. Though.
Okay.
Okay.
Just stay
Thanks.
seated
We
there.
appreciate
it.
We'll be back. I believe we're going to go ahead and we'll decide who we'll have under the break. I don't want to.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
All right, and we're back here on Friday Live. David Hartley's been kind enough to become our cameraman for us. Got some folks to introduce. Everybody knows our mayor, Robert Flynn Schubert, and Miss Jenkins Days herself here, Ernestine Flint.
Howdy.
And this guy's name I can remember is Rick Johnson. That's and what's your position with TICO, Rick? I know we've had you on before.
Yeah, I'm the director of operations at Premier Elkhorn, located, just across the line down here at Dorton.
And you live in Tampa, Florida, and commute up here?
No, not hardly. I'm a Coalfields native. I, matter of fact, live just right across the state line up here, going toward Wise.
Okay. And then we have Stacy. Is it Billiter?
Billiter.
All right, I got it close up.
You did good.
And what's your position with TICO?
I'm the surface mine engineer and also the community projects organizer.
And you also commute from Tampa?
No, not hardly. I'll just make it from Pike.
Okay. So you're all mountain boys then, right?
Yes, sir.
Well, great. Well, I know Ernestine is all up to snuff here. She's got a couple questions she wants to ask.
Okay. First thing, what I want to do, I want to thank Tico. They are one of our sponsors for Jenkins Days. And every year we send you out little letters. and then we fax you information, things about our event that goes on here once a year. And you all have always been very cooperative and send a check to the Jenkins Festival Committee. So that's the first thing we want to, thank you all for.
You're welcome.
And we would like to present you all with one of our Jenkins Days T-shirts. I'm not good on guessing sizes, so if I got the wrong size, you just go to that first booth back there and tell them you would like to exchange these.
Oh,
Thank you.
Thank you
I
very
have
much.
no idea.
Appreciate
On the
it.
back of your T-shirt says that the Good Times Row. It's our Jenkins Day theme, so let the Good Times row with Tico.
Okay, thank you.
Back up there.
I'm sorry.
He's going to get you a nice little shot of it. You're okay, Mary? Yeah, that looks good. Thank you.
If you'd like to come to the park and purchase these, the money goes to Jenkins Festival Committee. They're $18, and we have a few left.
Good.
So
Thank
thank you
you.
all for Jenkins
Thank
Days.
you,
That's the
Ernestine.
first thing I wanted to talk to y'all about. The second thing is the Little Shepherd of Kingdom Come. We are really excited about what's going on today with that. You all have donated us 15 acres
15 acres, yes.
of land, and explain to us where the land is exactly.
Okay, the land is really at the foot of Pine Mountain. As you're coming off down the 4-lane from Pound Gap, and you go ahead and go beyond the Pine Gap turnoff, and as you progress on down side of the mountain, and you take the first exit coming into Jenkins,
Correct.
and it's located right in the first curve as you're turning back down to come down to the city of Jenkins, right on the old railroad right-of-way. Years ago there was a train service that came from through the tunnel over here to the Jenkins, several years ago. And
You're talking about a tunnel through the mountain from Virginia to Kentucky.
That is correct.
Actually,
that's one of the largest tunnels, at the time was operating, in
I
this
didn't
part of the
even know
country.
it was there until this come up, guys.
Oh, is that right?
It blew
Yeah.
my mind that we had a tunnel up there. No,
It's an amazing structure. It sure is. But it I guess became inoperative, and they pulled the rail out of it, several years ago. And along these old right-of-ways, there's a lot of real neat, I guess, land available, and the terrain up there suits this project, to a T, because it already is sort of bowled out, just like what you would need.
natural amphitheater.
That is correct. Sure is.
Wow.
And then also we wanted to make sure that you guys had enough land up there to do some future development, with the parking, with the other buildings, the other structures that you intend to build, the gift shops and supporting structures, and hopefully a large parking lot where we'll be able to fill that up one of these days with a lot of tourism and a lot of activity here in the community.
What we want to do with the outdoor drama, even though it's featuring Little Shepherd of Kingdom Come, we want to put stars like what we're having here Saturday night, Ty Herndon. We want to, during Jenkins Days, to be able to park lots and lots of people for concerts. Right. And also, all through the year, instead of just having one event a year, the Little Shepherd of Kingdom Come, we would like to bring in stars and country bluegrass, to invite everybody to come up and
Sure.
get to see big
So it doesn't
stars.
just have to be just for this one play.
No.
It could be for many other activities. here in
No,
Jenkins.
this facility is going to help Jenkins in many, many ways. And I'm sure the outdoor drama part is what, we're featuring right now. But we have, of course, where I'm on the committee, Don Ambergy is the president, and he's here with us today.
Yes.
And the vice president is Peggy Bentley. And then we have the secretary, who is Debbie Pauley. And then, as you all have met, Ked Sanders. He's also on the committee.
And they said Ked was up there at the tunnel right now with a pitchfork. He's trying to
Go ahead and start the excavation work, huh?
But we are a very small committee, and we have worked on this 5 or 6 years. And I know we got $30,000 that was donated to us. So we're out asking for money, and we're sending in for money all along. And there's a lot of people that think this is never going to happen, but this is going to happen. We are going to do this, and it's a long-term dream, I know, but we're going to try to have this thing open in a couple of years.
Well, guys, Hood can probably attest to this. If you don't have the land and you're trying to do something, for example, the baseball field, you guys were very generous, donated a lot of land up there. I understand there's now in works for big grandstands and all this stuff's happening. Kid is so excited, and the community really appreciates it. But if you don't have the land, people just don't want to donate as much. They don't want to help out as much. When you have that foundation, that makes all the difference in the world.
I tell you, we're real pleased to be a part of the community, and we really enjoy the opportunity to work with all the individuals and all the citizens here, and we don't want to be looked as outsiders. We want to be a part and help out with some of the
and you're sure you know
the future development.
down here.
No, sir, I don't.
Okay, that's what
they've been too good. He's a mountain boy.
There you go.
I can walk to work, I believe.
And I attest to that. They've been very generous and a good partner with the city of Jenkins in all the functions that we were trying to do.
It's fantastic. I appreciate that.
I commend
Name
them
like
for
Rick
it.
Johnson, we.
Great.
So-
They've done a great job too. I appreciate both of them very much.
We know, but one thing about for being here I found really interesting, and they're probably going to kill me for telling on them, but they are going to play golf tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. I can see dark daggers in their eyes.
Hey,
So
let me tell you a little story about that golf course. When they
Okay.
first started tearing it out, I had people down in City Hall. They'll never put it back. They'll never put it back.
Bet you
Now
did,
what do we
did.
got? We got the 9 holes plus 9 more. There's 18 holes.
or 27, I can't add.
So they have kept their commitment to the end.
Well, we really appreciate that, guys. We really do, and I appreciate you pointing that out, Mayor. I wasn't here. I was living in Lexington when all that was going on. I remember going down and looking at the country club, and it was like up on a little pedestal.
Sure.
And it's got saved. It's there. The golf course got improved. So
Absolutely.
You guys kept your word there.
And then, the ball field, that'll soon be probably one of the premier facilities in this part of the country.
It's beautiful up there.
It's amazing, too, to see what kind of support, everybody's just pouring into this ball field, because, the school's going so long now without just having a home field.
Yeah.
And, this is really going to bring a lot back to the school. And it'll give them an opportunity to have the last bat, in terms of not being a traveling team, too. So that's going to make their record even that much stronger, I'm sure.
Well, let's just put all the cards on the table. Coal mining companies sometimes don't have the best reputation. A lot of people don't like some of the things that happen, but you guys have done everything from the baseball field. You're getting ready to donate this 15 acres. You look over McRoberts, there's the walking track.
Sure.
In other communities where you're in, you guys are always giving back to the community. So I think that we get the best end of the deal. I really do.
Your favorites are Depot too. They were.
Oh, really?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Well, in 1995, we had a video of the depot up there. I don't know if you guys remember what it looked like.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
Yes, we do.
Gosh, it was horrible, man. I couldn't believe what it looked like. And
Right.
now it is beautiful. The Coal and Railroad Museum's in there, the bank's in there.
They were contributors in the library land too.
And I was getting ready to say there's a big library there now. I didn't know
Absolutely.
that there were contributors in there.
Oh,
So
yes, yes.
The next time you want to badmouth Tico, you better think twice
Fire
about what
department
these
did.
folks have done. Fire department?
Yeah, they
Absolutely.
the land behind the fire department. They helped us to get that in a position to where we could build it because there really wasn't enough land there to do what we needed to do. They were instrumental in that too.
Well, I thank you all for all of these things. Really, Jenkins is a lovely place in the country, but if you don't have your structures and you don't have the land to do things, it's nothing. It'll just become an eyesore.
Sure.
And, I'm sure you all have seen a lot of places that are eyesores right now.
Absolutely.
The community hasn't taken care of itself and its money and paid attention to what it's doing. But I understand that there's a presentation y'all might be wanting to make.
Yes. Yeah, we want to present, actually, there'll be a presentation tomorrow at 2:45, I understand, an
Nice.
official presentation. But we have an exhibit here, a deed, which is kind of blown up to a larger size, so we can kind of present that with a small exhibit on the bottom which shows part of the arts and crafts plans for the future.
One right there you
Okay, I
can
see
see.
it. Okay.
Okay. You can see how they're planning the parking area, which is the first thing that you encounter as you come up the road. Then you see the amphitheater and the associated facilities. My understanding it's going to be a 500-seat amphitheater
Wow.
with they'll have refreshment booths and custodian booths or buildings to maintain it. It'll be quite unique. I look forward to being able to attend the first one. I'd like to do that. We oftentimes visit, my family and I, the Jenny Wally Theater and enjoy it quite well. So now I can only imagine sitting at the base of this mountain here and enjoying a similar play will be unique.
Be very unique, and in between the acts, we can always go and look at the tunnel and watch Ken.
Oh yeah,
digging away to get to the other side. He really
go.
wants to open that tunnel up one of these days. It'd be really cool if he could do that.
Believe it or not, I walked through that tunnel.
I was going to ask if you remembered it.
I very well remember that tunnel.
Sure.
It was built in 1947, I believe, wasn't it? That when does anybody see?
I really don't know, Mayor. When
And it was 47. I'm getting my historian over there, Rosemary's telling me.
I walked through it too. Everybody that
Yeah.
was swimming up there would eventually walk through the tunnel.
And the reason it was
Oh,
built
okay.
was specifically to haul coal. Is that,
That's correct.
and were they hauling it from Kentucky to Virginia? Or
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. That's what I assumed. I wanted to make sure. And one end of it is supposed to be like maybe wooden, and the other end's concrete.
Halfway through is about concrete. I think on the Kentucky side, and then through the rest of it is just earth.
It's just earth, huh?
Yeah.
Well, we have a guest that's going to be on next week. I don't know if you know this gentleman, Hunky Hall, and he says he's recently went through the tunnel, so we've got a whole big story there.
I believe Bruce Bevins has been in there too.
I think so. Yeah, matter of fact, he still may be there.
Well, fellas, we really appreciate y'all taking the time to come out here so y'all can play some golf tomorrow. And no, just kidding.
Thank the Raven Rock Golf Course. The little golf carts you see that the Jenkins Festival Committee are riding around in, they are sponsors of those, and well, you can't really get through very well in vehicles, so those have really saved us a lot of time. And every year we call the Raven Rock Golf Course, and they have always been very
They
willing.
meet up there and all the folks.
Really, the whole town has come together with this Jenkins Days. There's things going on. Like right now, Whitaker Bank, you can go in there. They have big tables set up with meatballs and fudge and sandwiches.
No, where I'm going.
And
That's where we need to go.
Yeah.
really good punch. I mean, the quilt contest was held there, and I think there's like 27 quilts in there for people to go by and look at. And they're judged already with little ribbons on them. Then you can go on down to the Coal Museum. You will see the photo contest there. They've already judged those with little ribbons. Then you can go to the library. Our art contest is there. You can go in there and look what really good artists that we have in Jenkins, thanks to Father Randall. And I really hate to say this, but Ray Howard's painting won. He beat me. Mine was beside him, but it didn't work out. Anyway, Ray won. He got first place on
This
it.
has been his year, hasn't it?
You need to go in really and look at Ray's artwork. It is beautiful. And
There's another good artist sitting over there.
and
Ked Sanders, absolutely.
yeah, and Ked helped get this together here today too. And we, just the whole town comes together with donations and just helping out with the festival, and with which they'll also will be asking people to come together like this for when we get the drama, Little Shepherd of Kingdom Come.
Which Don Enberg is going to be talking about here a little bit later.
Don Ambergy will be coming on next.
He thinks
And,
around 2000 and what did he say, 5?
I'll let him tell you. I think it's 5 or 4. 4 or 5, Don. 5.
That's what I thought. 2005. He's hoping to actually have the very first one up there, guys. So
That'd be great.
time flies,
Super.
and that'll be here before we know it. You know that. Coach?
Absolutely.
But what's going to happen tomorrow, we're going to have, actually, the Little Shepherd of Kingdom Come, we're going to have the play here on stage tomorrow, about 15 minutes. And then the other 15 minutes, where you all present us the deed, and all that takes place tomorrow, about 15 till 3.
Now, don't forget about the cake.
Okay.
I want to hear. I can't believe this cake. I've got to see it to believe it.
Me too.
I've ordered this cake, and I told Nancy Brown Cakes that I would give her a little bit of advertising for this. She's going to bring a cake in on the back of a truck, like it's got like a camper top on the back of a truck on a piece of plywood, and it's going to sit over there. It will feed 800 people.
Now say that again. That's a big number.
Wow.
This cake will feed 800 people tomorrow. 600.
Thanks,
So
Steve.
we want to invite everybody to come out and watch this presentation tomorrow. And of course, if you miss it, you can watch it on Heritage TV over and over and over.
Yes, we like to repeat. Encore presentations is what we call it.
There you go.
But we will be celebrating and with our TICO guys, and the mayor will be here for that. And
Well, Ernestine, my cameraman, he's got to go. Who you got to meet later?
I'll stick around if you need me for another segment.
Okay.
well, I would like to bring Don Ambergy on now. He can have my seat,
Well,
or
no,
is he
he's going to do a monologue.
He's going to do a monologue.
Yeah,
okay.
we're going to get the microphone real close up there so people can hear exactly what he's saying.
Okay. So Don Ambergy's next.
Stacy, Rick, Ernestine, Bud, I really appreciate y'all coming up here. Really appreciate all the things you've done for the community, and I'm sure we could go back and talk about all kinds of other things that you all have done. But here lately, the two biggest people really to keep in mind is the baseball field up there. Really generous of you guys, and now this wonderful amphitheater, the natural amphitheater at that, with all kinds of great potential. So thank TICO so much. We really appreciate y'all's help.
You're very much welcome.
You.
You're welcome.
City of
Thank you.
Jenkins, we thank you.
And we will be back with Mr. I believe you said Don Amberg.
Don Amberg.
Okay. Ernestine has spoken.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our switch those because I just picked up a size.
It's very
Rick,
thanks.
you've been a fine good one. I
Thank you.
appreciate you. Stay
All right, and welcome back to Friday Live. And as Ernestine said, our next guest is going to be Don Ambergy. And I've asked Don to do a monologue for us. Basically, he's going to talk about the retrospect of The Little Shepherd of Kingdom Come, the play, where it's been, what's been happening, and we're really looking forward to this. So, Don, if you would please just take over. And
Thank you, sir.
you're welcome.
We'll do that. Well, my name is Don Ambergy. I'm the president of the Cumberland Mountain Arts and Crafts Corporation, and we're doing The Little Shepherd of Kingdom Come outdoor drama. We are going to start it up in Letcher County for the second time. Once before, we ran it at Van, Kentucky. It opened in the early 70s, and it ran through the early 80s. And we had an audience from the entire nation. They came from the four corners of the country, and in groups they would come down from Michigan, and people from southern Canada would come with them. And then groups coming up from Florida would bring people from the Caribbean with them. So we want to do the same again and expand upon that and do it even bigger and better. Now, you might be surprised to know the kinds of audience that we had. We noted that many family groups would come, like in automobile caravans. You would have grandparents, parents, and children. So that was the makeup of the audience. Now, of course, local people came, and they can come here. They will always be welcome. We'll always have some of that. But we noted people coming from a distance would travel that way very often. And this is unique to an outdoor drama projects. We found this out through our statistics clearinghouse in North Carolina. You get 3 generations of people, as I said. And the children, you would be surprised at the number of children we get to these outdoor dramas by that method. Most theaters generally do not attract children this way. Adults will go to see an adult play, and children will go to see theirs. So in this kind of thing, we present a play that is so generalized that it appeals to 3 generations. And that way, we serve more children than does an ordinary theater, so we need to keep that in mind. This is a family type of entertainment, and it will appeal greatly to children. And I mean all the way down to 2 years old and even younger. They bring them all, so it covers all the age ranges. And of course, this is a Civil War project to begin with. Now, we want to appeal to bus tours, and there you get persons of different age groups and different interests, like senior citizens and just many others. And we want to employ a public relations director who will start to work about a year before we open. And they will promote this for us. Bus tours from all corners of this nation. And that's how we can keep the attendance up. It's a good way to do it, and we certainly are going to go for it. Bus tours. We'll bring them to Jenkins. We'll bring them to the amphitheater. And this is a Civil War story. And we want to bring and remind people of the national, state, and local history that, that occurred and took place right in this local area. You might be surprised to know, well, you probably do know it, because all of you read history, you know, and you love the Civil War, and those books have been the most popular things we ever circulated in the public library. I know that. Up around Pound Gap and down the mountain around the Murder Rocks to Pound, Virginia, and in that general area, James A. Garfield served in the Civil War. And he was a lieutenant at the time and took part in battles and skirmishes and so forth and so on. And he got promoted from lieutenant to general in that time and in that area. Subsequently, Garfield became president of the United States. That was in 1881. He didn't serve long because he got assassinated. And that was a tragedy. Now, John Hunt Morgan passed forth and back in the Gap several times during the war. And he always carried his fiddle with him in his saddlebags. And he wrote a famous fiddle tune, and it's known today, and I've heard local boys play it. It's called Morgan's March. Perhaps sometime we can use that in our soundtrack. But I know the fellow who collected it and recorded it, and we'll have to watch about securing rights to do it. So, but you know, we'll look at that. And then during the war, there was 35,000 troops, Union and Confederates, that passed back and forth through this gap. So where we locate this place is going to be right where some action took place. And you can bet that we'll play that up and we'll make people familiar once again with their own history and other historical facts and as they relate to Jenkins and this area. Well, when we pick up again, we will start with the 9th or 10th year of the Little Shepherd Project in Letcher County. We will not lose what we did before. We'll just pick up where we left off and go on. That publicity from back in those times still benefits us, so we will keep it going. The current status of our project is that we will have a deed tomorrow, and we will then have the opportunity and the obligation to start road construction. We'll have to get a road up there so we get cars and buses. We'll have to have an access road, maybe 100 feet along up to the railroad bed, and then develop the road around, and of course, you know, develop the site and build the buildings. And we've got most of that surveyed. So we take this survey, we take it to the Transportation Department, the engineers at the Pikeville office, and we get an estimate on what that costs. Then we go to Senator Mitch McConnell, we go to Congressman Rogers, and they've all committed to helping us on this water and sewer projects through the city, roads through the county. We may even have to give the road to the county to help us build the road, you know, but it'll be only just for that. Then our job is to follow it up, raise the money, and we need more severance tax for matching funds. We need an office between now and the 1st of January. We need an office for this project. We meet in the library. We take the phone calls and everything through my home. We're scattered in 2 or 3 different locations. We need to pull it together. We'd like for somebody to give us an office, even if it's 10 by 12. If we could have it rent-free for the first year, wouldn't that get us going? But we need to get into one soon so we can put it all together. That will give much more emphasis and promotion to the project. And people will have one place to come to get information. We'll have our board meetings there, and it will help us to move it. The tourism benefits, well, they're always double to a region or an area. If we want this to be a Letcher County-wide thing, it will be located in Jenkins, but the benefits will be spread throughout the county. Restaurants, motel rooms, gift shops, the grocery stores, the filling stations, just name it. Everybody benefits when tourists come to town to spend their money. And the actors and staff members, they make some money doing this job. So there is the double benefit. And we need to see one new motel developed in Whitesburg and one new one in Jenkins. we will have a need for that because we'll keep things going the year around in this project. So don't forget tomorrow at 2:30 we have a skit on the stage. 2:45 we have the deed presentation. Then after that, the giant economy-sized cake comes up on the field, and we don't want to see one bite of that left. So celebrate with us tomorrow. Now, stay with us, folks. We'll be right back.
Oh, goodness.
Anyway, you're getting ready to introduce the checkboard?
Checkboard magazines. I wondered if I could say hello to my aunt and uncle before we start.
Certainly.
Okay. I don't have very many relatives left in the world.
Oh.
Evelyn Kinser at Making is my mother's sister, and J.B. Fleener at Making is my mother's brother.
Well.
Also, Georgia May Stallard is my uncle's wife, and she's the mother of Judy Kinser, who's going to sing here tomorrow.
Well.
Judy and I are first cousins.
Well,
yes, so I want to say hello to my relatives. I have lots and lots more cousins, but Judy sings the best of all of them. Everybody sings, though. Yeah. Okay. Well, Rick, this is your own copy. We want to present it from the old school committee because you've done so much for us, you and Heritage TV, to let the people know what's happening at the school. And we get lots of good response from it. So it's not a really great reward, but we want you to share.
Yes, it is.
Share with us here. And Betty Hunsaker's quotation was, "Tell Rick he won't know many of the people in it, perhaps, but his dad will." But we want to make sure Wilburn's little boy gets one of these. So,
well, bless y'all's heart.
I hope you will like it.
Thank you so very much. I will treasure this. I really will. Thank you.
We wrote wrote your name inside in love, and the people on the committee are Charles Dixon, who is the chairperson, and Betty Hunsaker.
Keep this off the mic.
I'm one. Okay, that would help.
Yeah, it's okay.
Betty Hunsaker, Pelma Dixon, Paul and Peggy Greer, Ked Sanders, and Larry Bray. We're the ones on the committee.
Well, from the bottom of my heart, thank you all very, very much.
Well, I
really appreciate it.
I'm glad that that you're a part of this because we could never have got it out without you the way it has.
Well, you were doing a pretty good job. Well, but I'm glad any way I can help.
You know how
the
picture's worth 1,000 words and a TV shot's worth 1,000,000. Is that what it is?
Okay,
yeah.
I'll buy that.
It's a lot. And so the checkboard, if you want me to, I can just kind of fast forward through some of it because our time's a little brief.
Right.
Okay. Would you hold
yours
up to where they can see it? Because I've got so many tabs here.
Okay, you just tell me what page to go to.
Okay. First of all, the title of it.
Okay.
The checkboard. A lot of people, I would hear them talking about it, and they would say the checkerboard, and I thought they're envisioning a checkerboard.
I was one of the ones who called it a checkerboard.
A lot of people did.
Explain to the folks why it's called checkboard.
All right. You can tell by the picture, there's a little man standing there holding onto a tag. Every person that worked for Consol had his own number, or her own number, I assume. And so they hung on a board just like the one you're seeing there. And when the person came in, if their tag was there, they knew they were there. And so it's called the checkboard because each person was individual, each person had a number, and everybody was important. And so that's why it's called the checkboard. And the magazine that was printed by Consol in 1945 to 52 was called the checkboard. And we've taken almost all the material in this book. We have 148 pages.
It's a heavy, thick book.
It is heavy. You can buy it for $15. If you want it mailed, it costs $18 because it is very heavy. And it's made of heavy paper because we chose to do that. The original checkboard magazines were printed on this same thing, and they've lasted 50 years, and they're going to go longer than that. So
that's a good choice.
Yes, we just couldn't do anything else but that. So I think it'll be very worthwhile, and almost every family in this town will find somebody in their friends and relatives that they know.
Absolutely.
And there's so many stories about it, and we have just a little overview of our program for the school. Please look on page 5.
Okay. feel like I'm back in school,
Oh
right?
dear, I feel like I am too. Sorry, I just retired in June. Turn to page 5 quickly.
Yes, ma'am.
And stop that. That's making you feel more comfortable.
I'll write it home now. Okay, he's zooming in here on page 5 would be the side with the pictures.
Well, yes, it says progress of renovation of the old Jenkins School, and it tells us that we had originally $1.5 million to begin the project. And so phase 1, which is the outside of the building, has cost $1 million already. And it looks so beautiful. There's a picture of the school that was taken in August. And this is Old Jenkins School. Turn the page if you would.
Let him pull back out.
You
so
can. Okay. Just hold on. We'll do that one next.
Okay.
But when we turn the page, you will see the Old Jenkins School as it is right now, because Ked and Charlie took that picture last week. The thing you were seeing there, I didn't want the people. It's on page 6. Right. If you have to look really carefully to tell it from the old good ones, don't you?
You do.
And this is what it looks like now. And Ked and Charlie took that picture only hours before it was put on the computer. Our hat is off to Gary Jesse.
You can see the new fence there.
Oh yes, it is, and of course a little higher than the old one because the government required that. But the landscaping's been done, everything's been done outside. That needed to be done, and the county has purchased with part of the grant 4 sets of property in the back of it for parking. So we're going to have some nice parking areas too, and handicap access is already being done.
Fantastic.
So these are the things. Then the next phase is going to require a large grant for electrical work, the whole building, plumbing, the whole building. It has 40,000 square feet. Plaster work, the walls, the floors, and
have you
computer
estimated
wiring.
how much this might cost?
$3 million more.
We need $3 million more.
Yes, we do. So we know that nobody, if they sold everything all of us have, we couldn't raise that, but the government has it.
Well, now, there's something else people might not know, or you all have roughly $500,000 right now. Now, why haven't you go ahead and spend that on the school and take care of some things?
That's a good question. The reason is that we can use that as matching funds and greatly enlarge it. The committee went down to hear Ernie Fletcher speak. Because we're interested in all the people that are running for office now. We're going to, after they're elected, we're going to ask them to help put in a technology training center there, which will finish the building. So we want to talk with Mr. Chandler, who's also running, and Hal Rogers, who's already there, and a lot of people about it. And because that's the kind of grant we need. And I heard somebody at that meeting say, you can take $2 and we can turn it into 10.
Well, see, matching funds, some of them might not understand what you mean. In other words, they may say, we'll give you $500,000 if you will match that $500,000.
Yes.
So you've got it in the bank, you could do that. Or they could say, we'll give you $1 million if you'll match it by 50%. And again, you come up with the $500,000, you get the $1 million. That's how that works.
Yes, it's exactly how it works. So 2 for 10 would be what, 20%?
Yeah, great.
That's what we're hoping that $500,000.
But if you don't have the 2, you're not going to get the 10,
yes.
right? Okay.
And so the committee has set a goal to raise $300,000 of our own to show them that the community wants. And Letcher County is a county building. It's not just a Jenkins building.
Right.
It belongs to Letcher County. That we are serious about putting ourselves into it too.
Yeah.
So we're coming along with donations. So many people are kindly donating money. They're donating their time, which is the same as money, since we'd have to hire it done if they don't come and do those things.
Oh yeah.
So we've just been very well pleased with the way everybody supported it, and just speaking to or writing to the people that are in office or the ones that are running for office, and keeping them aware of the school and its project and its importance. That would help us so much. Their influence. We need that as much as anything.
Well, you're talking to the right people, sounds like.
Okay. Well, let me just talk to you a little bit about the book. I have so many people here that I'm just going to read the names, and then I'm gonna kind of focus in on Miss Bato, the lady I told you about, Mr. Snap, Francis Gary Powers, and Dr. Perry, and then anything else that I mentioned that you want to go back to, we will.
Very good.
I'm looking through again, and page 5, that looks like graffiti. And it looks like somebody saying, we're going to get rid of this. No, no. These are the signatures of our friends, many of whom are with the Lord, we hope. And yes, they are.
That's where you think the graffiti's at, that picture there, right?
Yes.
Okay.
See,
it's not graffiti.
it is not. We're going to shellac over it, or whatever they do now, and save it, because these, and there's not one bad word on the wall. I'm just glad we found it before it was all totally destroyed. So we're keeping it. And you will probably see some of your relatives' names up there. Come to the old school and look at it. By the way, we have tour today, 4 o'clock, and tomorrow at 2 and 4.
2 and 4 tomorrow. That's the old Jenkins school.
And so they can come and look at that if they want to.
All righty.
Page 6 is the new picture.
And we showed that one.
There's a picture of what everybody talks about, the recreation building. That's where the hospital stands now. It's on page 23.
Okay.
And as you can see, there are many more things there besides that. And some of these things are gone, but they're not gone from our hearts and our memories. All the sweet things are still there. You see a picture on the page that you're holding.
Look how beautiful that is, man.
It had a Greyhound bus station. In there, it had an ice cream parlor, restaurant, as you can see, and then upstairs were hotel rooms. Downstairs they had pool hall, and and haircuts and shoe shines, and on the back side of that building there was a shoe repair store that was run by the uncle of Francis Gary Powers.
Man,
yes,
he is world famous. As
yes,
we all
he
know,
is, and we have a little special thing on him. Yes,
I saw that in there already.
I'm so pleased, and I hope we get to see his son. I hear his son is interested in, seeing things done for his father.
Well, how nice.
And so I wrote the little write-up, and it's all over the internet.
Well, congratulations.
Well, it's nothing that will get a Pulitzer Prize, but it has lots of love in it.
There you go.
On page 29, there's some special people. I'd like to point out especially the ones that are still here and you can talk to. Libby Craig is on that page. These are the people that work for Champion Stores. Libby Craig is there. Estelle Bukovich is there. Fred Davis. You know Fred? If you go over to Hardee's.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And
he's my neighbor.
and Ruth Coffey. Did Ruth pass away? I'm not sure. I haven't seen her in a long time, and I know she wasn't well. She lives in Whitesburg, had a beauty shop down there. But she's Adams, Ruth Adams.
Ruth Adams?
And, but she's there, and so precious, so many of the people are. On page 30 and 31, you see the people that were operators that said, "Number, please." Now, you don't remember that, except for Kid, maybe. I don't know how old Ray is. You think he does?
I don't know.
Telephone man. But when I told people, it hasn't been really a long time since Jenkins only had 3 numbers. Mine was 968. We had 3 digits in our phone number.
Do you remember any of this stuff, Ray, or is this familiar?
He's too young.
Okay.
But Kid does. 1912. But these are the people that said that, and so Jenkins had a lot of things. A lot of people in this area didn't have. On page 32 and 33, you see what is now a church, but was the theater at that time, and the little write-up under the bottom of it. You'll recognize that there is another dollar store now, right where that dollar store was, that 5 and 10 and dollar store, and the theater beside it seats better than 8,000, it said. I'm sorry, 800.
800.
800, which is big for this area.
Oh, goodness, yeah.
It was so beautiful, and many happy thoughts there. When I thought Dad wouldn't be there.
Okay.
But then there are pages that tell about the people that work there. On page 34, there are some special people. You see a quartet of nice-looking young men. Ernest and Jean White, Kyle Estes, and Larry Hillman. 3 out of 4 of those became band directors. Jenkins had terrific band directors. And the White boys went on and became state officers, state educators. Then below that, you see some beautiful, beautiful girls.
Oh, the
I know you can't see that one, so see?
Yeah, man.
The second from the right is Sue Carol Killen, who married Jim Chandler, the guy from West Point. And she's passed away now.
Bless her heart.
And he has a lovely wife named Sylvia now, and we hope to see them. They wanted to come up here today, but couldn't. They're moving from their home in southern Tennessee to Johnson City.
Oh.
And they, I got an email from Jim last night, and he said he's sending his cousin, David Blizzard, in to see us, and that and Thurman Blizzard too. They're Jenkins boys.
Okay.
With his check of his donation to the old school.
All right.
So we're very pleased with that. And you can see some of the bands. They're just pages and pages of bands because, especially page 38, the little write-up underneath that. I'm guessing that's about 1947, 46. It said it's the best band in Dixie. Isn't that neat?
Wow, the whole South. Huh?
Well, that's what we thought, and a lot of people thought that. They won lots of awards. The gentleman
Man,
in
that's
the,
a huge band. Look at that. Goodness
yes,
gracious.
and that's only the A band. The B band and C band were earlier. See, they're
So
on the
you-
page before that.
Right. Well, we'll just stick with the A band for right now.
Yes.
Look, that is awesome looking. That is
Oh,
fabulous.
yes.
The uniforms, the instruments.
It was so thrilling. I lived on High Street, and I could hear them practice. And so could everybody in the building if they practiced during school. I'd like to point out the tuba player on the last row at the upper left. It's John DePriest.
Oh, that's John?
Yes.
Well.
Our cousin. It's Mr. Shook's first cousin.
Really?
His mother was a Shook.
Well.
So that's John DePriest and his...
Everybody knows John.
Oh, yes. Well, his grandson, John DePriest's grandson, Adam DePriest, is a senior this year at Jenkins Middle High. So those people still have relatives here.
Yeah, Adam helped us out during some of the basketball games last year.
Yes.
He's real nice. Also during some of the football games.
Oh, very, very sweet kid and ready to go, you know. That's just the old Jenkins spirit, isn't it?
That's exactly right.
I think you're going to see somebody you know on page 42, maybe more than one. Okay, these are kings and queens from Burdine. And Roger DePriest, a lot of people knew him. He's not related to John, really, but he's related to the Bentley family.
Okay.
And there are still some DePriests here that he's related to. Then you're going to see Joe Eddie Eversole.
Well, everybody knows Joe Eddie, I'm sure.
Yes, he was a king. And Tandy Bates. Tandy Bates' grandchildren, two of them have just graduated from Jenkins. Allison Wyatt and Leslie Stanley. Beautiful, beautiful girls, very smart. And we have one left. I think maybe the last one is Sarah Stanley, who's going to graduate this year. But those are Tandy's grandchildren. And Allison ran out and hugged me yesterday and said, Is my papa's picture in that book? I said, I believe it is. And there it is. So many things that I'd love for you to see, but we best
And people who are watching, they can own this book. They can take it home with them.
$15 and keep it, because for years everybody's been afraid to lend the checkboards because they might not come back, or when they did, there might be a picture cut out.
And how can they get this book?
Well, the easiest way from right here is booth number 1.
Booth number 1 at Jenkins Day. So.
But also the library and the old coal museum, and at the old school during tours, or from any committee member.
So listen, if you're here for a family reunion, you live out of town, you want one of these, very easy. Come out to Jenkins Days, go to booth number 1, and $15 out the door.
That's it. And
this money is going to...
the profits will go to further the old school renovation.
Very good.
And we only printed 500 of them. I bought 6.
So
they're going.
And I've got one here. So
yes. That's an extra one. So so we're. I would say buy them quickly. We can have more printed, but if you want the ones that are for sure printed, they're going pretty quickly. And we're buying one for everybody in the family. That's the reason.
Why? And a lot of
because
people
everybody
do
wants
that.
a picture of Grandpa.
Yeah.
You know. On page 45, you see Ab Williams being crowned band king. He was also a football king, because you'll see a picture in there where he broke a state record of being scoring the most points in one game that year. Ab did, and he was crowned there. And the beautiful lady beside him is
LaVon. Is it the top picture or the bottom?
Yeah, top.
Oh, my
top
bad.
one.
I've got you in the wrong
No, it's
picture,
okay.
Ray.
And the beautiful lady beside him is LaVon Burke and his Truman Sexton's wife.
Well,
Truman Conley's wife. Sorry, we had two
As I say, Truman
Trumans.
Conley, yeah.
Truman Conley's wife. Isn't she lovely?
She is.
And still is. And the one beside it that says "Laugh It Off," that page that's beside it.
Over here.
That's a production that was done here on the old stage.
Those are some tiny pictures. He might
Oh,
have a
they
hard
are so
time.
tiny. I'll just tell you about them.
You can try film too, Ray.
It was what it was. It's about the stories from the newspaper. And there were little skits from different stories from the newspaper. Like today, we might do one on people running for office or whatever. And so they were funny papers.
Okay.
And these people, a lot of them are still here. That's what I was telling Mr. Ambergy. This was just a Jenkins production. The Seth Keegan that's here is the son of the Seth that's there. But the talent goes on.
Yes, it does.
Then we have Miss Bato, the lady I was telling you about on page 50.
Okay.
She's the one that taught us to read. And I wrote this little thing about her. And I'm just going to read you a tiny bit.
Yeah.
Page 50.
Okay.
Mary Jo Bato is a name that brings back memories of the first grade to 30 years worth of Jenkins students. We all remember her rhythm band and the instruments we played. We remember learning to read about Dick and Jane and Spot. We also learned to add, spell, and write in cursive before our first year was over. The most remarkable part is that the first and second graders only went half a day.
My goodness.
So then the second half of this tells about her history, that she taught music, and I believe that because I still remember the first song that we learned in her class. She taught music before she came here. And she taught at Fleming Neon before she came here, but when she came to Jenkins in 1922, she stayed here for 30 years.
My goodness.
Teaching first graders forever, and that's her picture. I know a lot of people would love to see it.
She was from Boston, right?
She was from Boston, Kentucky. Did you ever hear of it?
No, that's what I said. You're looking Boston, Kentucky.
Boston, Kentucky, and she
we've
went.
got London, Paris, and Boston, right?
But don't we have everything we need here? Yes, we do.
Yeah.
And she left Jenkins to go to Sonora, Kentucky, and I'm not sure where that is, but she taught there for a while. And we could not find the date of her death. I'd like to read the closing.
Okay, please do.
It says, we were unable to find the date and details of her death, but perhaps that doesn't matter. In the hearts of her students, Miss Bato will live as long as they are alive. She will live even longer in the influence that she had in teaching those future parents, minors, teachers, soldiers, doctors, lawyers, and legislators to strive each day for excellence. I had to say it.
That is outstanding.
She
That
was
is very
outstanding.
Yeah, I've heard you talk about her very often.
Yes, and I didn't get my knuckles wrapped either.
Oh.
Some people gotta occasionally, but I was a good girl. She didn't put my artwork on the wall though. It wasn't really that good, or if it was up there, it was about the last one. I couldn't stay in lines. Still can't.
I couldn't either, so.
No, look on page 68 for a treasure.
Alrighty.
This is a whole page dedicated to laboratory work for Consol, but it's really about Joe Bukovich.
Joe Bukovich.
Yes, you'll see Joe walking everywhere. He still walks downtown, walks back home.
Yes.
It's Estelle's husband. They're both still here. They live on High Street. They were my neighbors forever. This is about Joe.
That was, what year was that?
Well, I'm not sure, 48 maybe. We don't have the year on each page. His daughter Brenda became Brenda DePriest.
Okay.
Okay, and because she married Joe, that's what did it.
Yeah, we had Joe jumping out of an airplane here the other day.
Oh dear, that's another one of my husband's cousins. Surely not.
Him and Cad were flying out of airplanes. I'm telling you.
Buddy, I'm not surprised. They probably didn't need the airplane. They're high-flying guys. Well, I'm looking at page 77. I'm just giving you a little sampling of what the book's about. This is about mine rescue. Now, Cad and Charlie chose the pictures from the mining because we ladies didn't really know that much about it, but they got some good representative things. And one of those is Ernestine's father-in-law, Warnie Flint. He won a lot of things, and his name's just in here everywhere. And Clarence Dotson, I'm not sure if I mentioned his name is a member, but he's an important member of our community and our committee. He remembers old Jenkins a lot better than I do. He's a little older. He was a milkman here. He worked with the dairy, and he collects milk bottles. Jenkins had its own dairy, you know.
Right, Dairy Holler.
Yes, that's what they called it. But anyway, the Clarence Dotson you see here is his father.
Well.
Yes, and he was important in lots of things. I've seen his name on the walls around. And now he has, there's a grandson that goes to Jenkins Middle High named Clarence Dotson. So the third Clarence Dotson is here. And so we still remember all of those.
I got to meet him when y'all did the Jenkins cleanup recently. Y'all did a cleanup at the school. And
he knows so much.
He was enjoyed talking to him very much.
My hat is off to him. Not only does he remember the old stuff, but he's doing well with the new stuff. That's gone with me. Page 86. Page 86 is an important thing for Jenkins because that's when we had professional baseball team here, and it shows a picture of Ransom Jordan and also Ray Russell, who was a teacher here for a long time. Did he teach you by any chance?
No,
he was
but
gone.
I have heard.
Well, he was a teacher when we were in school, and he taught at Bristol High too, Bristol, Tennessee High, before he came to here. But he pitched for the Yankees, and it was almost like a farm team for the Yankees. If you read the stuff, and tells where the people came from. So many were from New York that were on that professional team. And Ransom Jordan, of course, is the the great-grandfather of the Thomas Jordan that just graduated last year from Jenkins High.
Well,
Mary Hall's son.
Okay.
So the tradition
There you
goes
go.
on. His son, Bill Jordan, is on the facing page, ironically, page 87. And on the bottom row, he's the second guy from the left, and he became a state legislator. He's passed away.
Well, I'll tell you what, Rosemary. Now, folks, you've been watching. She's just up to page 87, and this thing's got how many pages?
148.
And as any good school teacher, she is more than prepared today. Why don't you give us a last shot or two here?
Okay.
And we'll go ahead and wrap it up. The people, you want to see the rest of it, come by the book.
This is good. That'll save something for them.
There you
You
go.
might want to see the big page of Mr. Snap on 120.
Okay, we'll show page 120. There's Dr. Perry on 117 for folks.
Yes, if you want to show him first, you can.
Oh, we'll go ahead and show Mr. Snap real quick here.
Okay.
Everybody knows Mr. Snap.
So I won't tell his life, but
Well,
you
no,
know
you
how.
can, no.
You know, I'd like for them to read it.
There you go.
Yeah, it tells a lot of the things that he did, but we can never tell all that he did.
Well, my favorite story is when he was close to 100. Well, he might have been more close to 80 or 90, but he was up on the roof, tarring the roof
with a bucket of tar, trying to save that old school.
Yeah.
If nothing else, in his memory, we're doing that.
We've got about 3 minutes of tape left.
Okay.
Rosemary. What other pictures?
Could I just show you?
You go right ahead.
Can he home in on me?
If you'll hold it real steady for
I
me.
will. I certainly will. I wanted him to see Bad John Wright and Mammy. Everybody in the 50s knew Mammy, and her last name is Rogers, and everybody loved her.
You got to hold it still.
You
Here,
do it, buddy.
There you go.
I'm not steady.
That's okay.
I'm a wiggle worm. Okay, I want them to see those, and there's information there about those, and there's a lot of information about all aspects of Jenkins. I'd like you to see page 121.
Okay. Sorry about that, Ray.
I'm sorry. I thought I could, but I couldn't. I'm not like the little engine that could.
Well, you
I
can
tried.
do it, but you want to read it too.
Look at what I know. I'm sorry. 121 is
Okay.
Francis Gary Powers. That's the article about him.
Okay.
And the U2 plane at the bottom.
Yeah.
Okay, and page 117, that'll be our last one. And
Okay.
that's Dr. Perry.
Pull it back to go to 117.
It tells just a little bit about his life and all
Now,
the
Dr.
important
Perry,
people.
I can remember him coming to our little single-wide trailer we lived in as a little boy. So he's the
Well-
only doctor that ever made a house call that I can remember.
I don't think anybody has since then.
No.
But,
he was a valued member of the community also.
Oh, absolutely. And I've asked them at the bottom of this article if they have any stories to share about Dr. Perry to mail them to us because we're collecting them.
Okay.
His daughter Shirley may be here today. She comes in quite often.
Well, Rosemary, I really appreciate this book. I really do. I'm going to absolutely enjoy just looking at the old pictures and where things used to be and how it used to be. And thank you so much for coming on the show. She is just such a good trooper now. We were trying to get guests on, and she's like, I'm retired. I can go on whenever, Ricky. I want to thank Ray Harrod again for doing some camera work for us. So join us next week. We're going to have on the show, tentatively scheduled, is Durd Nairmore, and also we're going to have Hunky Hall. And who knows who else.
All right.
Thank you again, Rosemary.
You're very welcome.
We're going to go ahead and call it a day, but we'll see you live back here on Heritage TV for Jenkins Day starting about 3 or 4 o'clock.
she loves my automobile. She don't love me, but she loves my automobile. She'd do anything just to slide behind the wheel. She says, what's it gonna take for you to lay your top on down?